Media, please signal them before you ask your questions. Okay, right here. Go ahead.
A lot of the stuff I've seen is for sort of high-level club seats and high-level ticket holders. If you're an average fan who goes and sits in average seats, beyond the appearance on the outside and having not quite so disgusting restrooms, what's the biggest change that they may notice?
Well, hopefully
that will affect them.
I'm sorry?
That will affect them and their enjoyment.
Well, I'm hopeful that what's going to happen is the amenities we can create within the structure of the facility will be a lot better, Matt. That the opportunity for the concourses and restrooms and concessions, in terms of actual changing the seating bowl, we wanted to. There's some pieces of it. We've got a pretty good facility. We've got a very good facility in terms of the ability to see the game. And so some things we needed to dress up in terms of giving it some life and without hopefully reinventing the entire stadium. So because there's some places of it that are very, very effective for us and very, very good. So the amenities around the concourses and the outside, hopefully capturing the tradition of what we've had here over all the years we've played Kentucky football, will be very, very important. You obviously have to find a way to fund that process, and that $110 million, you have to find a way to fund it. And part of that upgraded in club facilities gives us a chance to do just that. The other pieces that are real important to us was clearly the recruiting area and the team amenities, and bringing that a little more up to date, give our coaches a chance to use that for our team. And so that gave us that chance. And then to be able to condense it a little bit and make it more intimate, we wanted to make it more intimate. I think what you'll feel is this stadium feels a little closer and it's a little tighter. And in today's world when we're competing with 67,000 seats, dealing with 70-inch big screen televisions and those kind of things, we are trying to create a really good ticket that's a valuable ticket, and that students will come and be a part of that and tighten that thing down a little bit and make it a really intimidating place to play. And so that's the goal, is hopefully with the sound system we've got in place and the things that we're going to continue to put in there, we'll create an environment where between team on the field and the atmosphere we're trying to create, it's a good place to play.
Rick?
Mitch, as you get that more intimate seating, you eliminate some seats. Where do those come from? Where will you remove seats? And what's the change in terms of student seating?
Most of the seats that will come on the sideline up top. That's where most of the seats will be condensed. And then you lose a little bit in the club areas where there's going to be some, there'll be some less seats on the side. Having said that, most of it will be up top, and the students will move them. The students have been asking for more and better seats. So what we've tried to do is get them out of the upper deck and put them down closer to the field where they want to come, and encourage them. Student attendance across the country has declined a little bit, and we've got to give students a reason to want to come back to the stadium and put them in a position. What that does in terms of our fans, it also allows us a little more sideline access, hopefully for some of our fans that might want to move around and be a part of that. So in terms of movement and moving people around, that'd be one of the other goals that, as Matt asked his question. Mark.
Mitch, excuse me, Mitch, how many, will there be any additional chairback seating at all? And how many student tickets did you say will be, what will be the reduction in student tickets?
Don't know what that number is going to look like. We're still working our way through it. I will tell you that the total number of student tickets on average is about 6,000 a game at most. So that's about all they've really ever used. We've held 9,000 or something like that, but the students, even in our best years, have never really used more than about 6,000 seats. So that's, if we're looking at averages and those kind of things, where do we get them most condensed where they can make the greatest impact on the game and create an environment for us? And that's the goal, is to try and put them in that best spot. So if they're down there around our kids when they come out of the tunnel, we think that's helpful to us. And so I forgot the first part of the question, I'm sorry.
Additional chairback seats?
Additional chairback seats. A lot will depend on sort of what we have the ability to put back into the construction. Depending on the construction costs, there'll be some things we may be able to add later. We're not sure exactly what that's going to look like just yet.
More media questions?
Get you afterwards, Tony.
The Nutter expansion, is that part of this or no?
Not right now. We poured most of that. We're pouring more money into the team stuff in the end zone right now. We'll come back and look at those things later on, but we've got some thoughts on what we want to do there, and working with Coach on that, sort of where he wants to head. And so I think we're in a pretty good spot on that. We all agree that this was the best plan for the time. Okay. Nope, right up front. Right.
Any idea yet whether this will impact the cost of season tickets or individual game tickets?
Right now, our season ticket costs will remain the same for going forward in 2015. We'll move. There'll be some movement in our stadium. There's going to be some movement, and we know that. And we'll get to everybody in December and January and sort of walk people through all that. We think we've got a pretty good idea of who's going to be affected and how that all plays out. But we think that we can be solid through 2015 and work our way through that. So we should be okay.
Okay, Chris has got one back.
Now, keep in mind, we will have 8 games in 2015, so the price of the season ticket will look different because of 8 games versus 7. So everybody understand it. We may change structurally how we do things. We may go to one price ticket in 2015 to try and eliminate confusion in terms of our ticket, but we'll have 8 games instead of 7.
Mitch, from a fan standpoint, how much will the construction affect transportation and parking throughout next season for you guys?
Working our way through that. We don't have a real feel. It depends on how far the construction stuff has to go out. There will be some stuff that we're doing right away as we begin 2014. In about 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be starting to put up some construction things around the stadium where they're going to go to work on utilities, infrastructure, and eventually steel. And then so we'll work our way through that. But I think we've got one of the best. If you've traveled the SEC, you know we've got one of the best parking situations of anybody in the SEC. And even if we have to lose a little bit of that, it's still pretty solid. So we're very fortunate. Our goal is not to hurt the tailgating opportunities and we want to create an environment where people can continue to enjoy what has been a really nice tradition of game day tailgating, and then get inside and enjoy hopefully a more intimate atmosphere inside of Commonwealth.
Kiana?
How do you justify a $110 million expansion when there are certain weekends when there are still a lot of empty seats?
We've been pretty solid in our attendance, so I would disagree with you a little bit in saying that there have been some empty seats. There's empty seats in a lot of stadiums, but we've got to go ahead and expand and renovate our stadium to keep it up to date. And no one said it better than saying if you're not trying to move a little bit ahead, you're falling behind. And we haven't done anything since 1999. So this is a goal to try and take that 67,000 down to 61,000, make them really, really quality seats, and do a really good job of creating an environment for our team. So that's part of our process, is making sure that we do that. And it is generated from within our department, and we're trying to do things that help generate jobs within this community and do things that help the university in total. And I think that we've done that with this project. And there's lots of ways that this thing will impact the community, and lots of ways this will impact our football program.
Okay, Chris over here.
Mitch, if you could just kind of explain the thought process behind putting the recruiting room where you all are putting it and what exactly it will be used for.
It's going to be, obviously we can't use it during the game. We're allowed to, at this point in time under the rules, we're allowed to use it pregame, halftime, postgame. And so we'll work our way through that. Obviously it's close to where our locker room would be. That's really, really important. So we thought there was a way to create the environment with students around our recruiting area, so to speak, and get our student athletes a feel for what it's like in the student body. And so we want them to feel that. And when they come out of the tunnel and our team comes out of the tunnel, we thought it was a pretty good environment. So we wanted to concentrate all of our team facilities in that end. And then and obviously that's close to the Nutter indoor, and there's some pieces to that we still use, and really, really important. That obviously would not be used for recruiting, but there's some other things that we use that for on game day that might be helpful to us down the road.
Okay, you're in the back.
Mitch, I know the facade is going to be unique to Kentucky, but you've been traveling to conference now for a couple, 3 years, looking at other facilities. Did any other spots sort of jump off the page at you that, when you said to yourself, I kind of like to have that at our place?
No, I think that what you're seeing, you've got some very large facilities in our league. And we've been pretty good in our league at that 98, 99% capacity, 97, somewhere in that range, but it's a little bit small. There's been some gaps lately, even in some of the programs that have had a lot of success. So our goal is to obviously make sure that we've got some of the features that you see in the environment in terms of the ribbon boards and the scoreboards, which we've added we've done that. And we wanted to come back and what I think will be a little bit more unique to us is hopefully we'll be a little tighter than some of those stadiums. Some of those stadiums tend to go away from you a little bit and create a vastness going away. I'm trying to create it and bring it tighter. And so that was one of the goals of our project. I would say probably in contrast to what you're asking, Dick, probably go the other way and try and what we don't want to do is I didn't want it to feel further away. We wanted to bring fans tighter to the action. so that was important to us. And I think it's incumbent upon our staff to try and create some things in game that we work really hard at in terms of video and music and those kind of things that help engage our fans more. And we've got to do a better job of that, not just depend on what the team's doing on the field. We've got to do a good job of that.
Chris, you have one?
Mitch, the Ring of Honor had been moved for the renovation that was made just recently. Will we see that return, and how will that?
Yeah, we're going to work through the graphics and the folks that are helping us give the energy to the stadium, so to speak. We're going to work with them. I don't know what all that will look like just yet. That's sort of getting down out of the 30,000 feet into some of the other details, which we're still working, as G said, we're still working through the design phases of a lot of this stuff. And so clearly those folks have been unbelievable ambassadors and representatives of our program on the field, and we want to honor that. We'll find the right way to honor that, and we've got some other thoughts that as we go forward I think will be fun and look forward to.
Anyone else? Any other media questions? Last call. Okay, thank you very much.